Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match preview for Newcastle's upcoming game this Tuesday down at Villa Park against high-flying Unai Emery's Aston Villa. It only seems like 5 minutes ago we played against Fulham because it was only Saturday night, but the football is coming thick and fast now. We've got no European football, so we can't complain too much. We were having way more games than this not too long ago, but it's a lot to ask of a very thin squad, and pretty much I can imagine we'll see more or less the same lineup that started against Fulham on Saturday, but we are going to pull it up on the screen in a second. We're going to talk about how we think the game is going to go, a little bit about our opponents, where the threats are going to come from then, and how we can nullify them, and what we think the score is going to be. Just before we do, a little reminder, anybody who's just tuned in, good to see you. Smash subscribe. Want to hang around a little bit longer? We're over 6,400 subs. Loads of room for you guys, never more. It's all free content. You get things like match previews that you're about to watch, rumor has it videos in terms of transfer rumors, the odd rant that something's winding me up, but obviously the post-match reviews as well, which are always live and fun, and what's going on with me and Mark every Monday, which is always a good crack as well. So smash the button, subscribe, hang around, like the video as well, help us grow, help it get around YouTube. And if you want to become a member and give a little bit back to the channel and help me and Mark bringing this great content, there is an option there for you too. So smash whichever one suits you best. So let's get stuck in. And this is how I think the lads are going to line up. So as you can see, we're not really in a position where we can make many changes, really. So we have made a couple of changes in terms of what you would expect Newcastle's normal start 11 to look like. I mean, starting at the back, obviously, Dubravka is the only keeper that we have, so that's easy enough to pick him. Trippier should hopefully shake off this injury that took him off against Fulham. I don't think it was anything too serious, so hopefully Trips will be there because he looked really good against Fulham, and following the Sunderland and the City games as well. I think he's looking like he's back to his best. Whatever was on his mind seems to have been, moved to one side. The Bayern Munich talk hasn't distracted him either. By the looks of it, against Fulham, he was great. So fingers crossed we'll have Trippier back ready to go because we need him. He's one of our best players. He's one of our most key assets in terms of that delivery that he has, about one of a right peg, and he's a leader as well and the captain. So we do need him. Sharon Botman are looking good again. That partnership's getting back on track, in terms of Botman getting back to fitness, some great tackles against Fulham, looking really sharp again. And then at left back, I've gone for Tino Livramento personally myself. This could easily change if Trips is struggling. Tino could go on the right, and then Byrne could fill back in at left back. Byrne got a lot of praise for his performance against Fulham. And he did turn it around. He did start to play quite well. Probably after about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then in the second half, he was great, but he was really caught with pace. And when you're playing against Aston Villa, and they've got players like Ollie Watkins, they've got players like Matty Cash in the overlap, they've got players like Diaby that can just come at you with pace. Bailey as well, if he plays, Villa are a real dangerous threat in terms of that speed that they have and the ability to get in behind. So for me, I think it's a massive mistake to put Dan Burn at left back personally. Eddie will make his decision whenever he thinks is best. He could very well put Burn in there because he's one of his kind of tried and tested lieutenants. But for me, I think that's suicide. I'd rather play Tino Livramento with his pace and his ability to recover when he's getting attacked down the flanks by the Aston Villa speed merchants. But it's up to Eddie. Midfield three is very easy to choose from, really, is Bruno, Miley and Longstaff. Great goal from Sean against Fulham, took it really well. Louis started to come back into the game in the second half. Bruno had a stinker, so we need Bruno to be on form, raring to go against Villa, against his fellow compatriot Douglas Luiz, and hopefully he'll be able to win that battle in the midfield, because a game like this is where Bruno needs to put that superhero cape on and win it for us, because he's that kind of a player. If he's on it and at it, Newcastle are at it, so we need Bruno to be big and strong in this game. And up front, I think Miggy Almiron, by the time we're watching this, is probably either on his way out or gone already in terms of a transfer. I don't believe for one second this illness story that was going around for the Fulham game. I think Miggy's gone. I think he's sold. I think he's been used to reinvest in the squad. I'd be shocked if Lascelles isn't also part of that as well. I hope Wilson stays, because I just don't think we'll get as good of a centre forward that can give you what Wilson gives you. He may very well be back on the bench for this game. The bench will be a big one for this game, I think. If Harvey Barnes and Joe Willock maybe appear on the bench, that could be a massive boost for Newcastle United. Having those players available off the bench is absolutely outstanding. Obviously, Isak will fill that centre forward berth. Isak's looked better and better. Even against Fulham, I think he could have had a couple of goals. The passing was a bit slack and a bit poor for Isak. I think he could have really done with some better delivery against Fulham. He might have got in behind and got a couple of goals. And then obviously Anthony Gordon and Jacob Murphy, who were put on the right-hand side in place of Mickey. Murphy looked good, coming back from a long spell out, 3 months out with a dodgy shoulder, looked sharp, fluffed his first chance, but put a second chance away fantastically well. So, Murphy will be a great asset to have in the team, especially, to go at Villa and make them track back and worry about us coming on the flanks as opposed to them coming on the flanks as well. In terms of the bench, I say is the big thing. If Wilson, Willock and Barnes can appear on the bench, wow, that's some game changers right there. And that gives us options to change things when we're struggling, which we haven't had for so long now. So that'll be the exciting part, I think, about our squad, looking at who's on the bench. If any signings are to be made, I don't think they'll be made in time for this game. If we're lucky, they might be on the bench. But I'm sitting here recording this on the 28th, and the game is obviously on the 30th, so I don't think there'll be enough time to get a player in, signed, trained, and on the bench. It doesn't sound like Eddie Howe's kind of thing. So I think, by the time we see any new players that potentially could come in, will be after the Villa game. But talking about Villa in general, so Villa are sitting in 4th place. We're 10th. They're 14 points ahead of us. Villa are basically Newcastle last season. They surprised a lot of people that they're up there. They're still up there. They're staying up there. They're playing really well. They've been lucky not to have so many injuries, I suppose. They have had some injuries, though, to be fair. I'm not going to take anything away from them. They've won, I think, 3 of their last 6, and we've only won 1 of our last 6. So the form guide tells you this is an Aston Villa win, really, if you were looking at outside of your Newcastle heart and head situation with your blinkers on. However, Newcastle have got some real confidence-building results here. So beating the Mackhams definitely boosted the confidence. Outstanding against Manchester City, arguably the best team in world football. Next to Real Madrid, probably. For an hour, we were in that game. We were bossing that game. And then against Liverpool, too, we were in that game and really playing well, for an hour. And then we just fell off because we didn't have anyone to change it off the bench. If you've got Willock, Barnes and Wilson, you've got those players to come and make changes off the bench. So let's just see how we end up, performing against Aston Villa. So for us, that's a big thing. But going back to Villa, I think they've been outstanding this season. I think the way they defend, I think the midfield strong. I love John McGinn. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's a kind of player that someone like Manchester United could do with, looking at all these other foreign players to bring in and these, sexy names and Instagrammable names that'll sell shirts and all this other stuff. It's not worked for them in the past. Someone like John McGinn is exactly what they need. He's a bootstraps type midfielder, picks up the game, runs with it. He can defend, he can attack, he can get crucial goals, he can pump everybody up. Seems a real character as well. But looking at the Villa team, obviously they've got Martinez in goal, who's a really good goalkeeper, a complete head case, but a very good goalkeeper. Konza at the back with Carlos, who started to come into a game, looked really well after that long-term injury, was linked to Newcastle once upon a time. He's doing really well there. Lengele as well is a good player. Moreno, Bay's got pace. Douglas Luiz is having a great season. Kamara, McGinn, and Diaby and Watkins. I mean, that would probably be your Aston Villa lineup, I would say. Maybe an odd change here or there, but I think that's generally their lineup that they're going to go for. Ollie Watkins, coincidentally enough, is 1 goal off scoring 50 goals for Aston Villa in the Premier League, and I think he's the only player who would have done that alongside Gabriel Bonglahor with 74 goals, and Dwight York with 60, so he's got incentive to get a goal on Tuesday, and Ollie Watkins will be the danger man. I think our back 4 has to be on the toes. You can't give him a yard on you. If you show him a clean pair of heels, he'll do you. He's got pace. He's got calmness in the box. He's a great finisher. I like Ollie Watkins a lot. I think he's a really, really good player. And I just think we have to be really on our toes for it. So what does my heart and head say about this game? I mean, Villa have been outstanding this season. They haven't really looked like they've given many people, chances to go at them, really. They want revenge too, no doubt about that. From the opening game of the season, my God, how different we thought things were going to be then. When we battered them, was it 5-1 at St James's Park, I think it was. Sandro Tonali's debut, scoring a goal, him, Bruno and Joe looking mince, Harvey Barnes getting a goal and an assist off the bench. And, we all thought, hey, here we go again. Newcastle are going to fly at this league. And then, suspensions, injuries, loss of form, dumping out of the Champions League, dumping out of the Carabao Cup. Losing against teams that you'd expect us to beat, and then this is where we are right now. We're 10th and they're 4th. Credit to Villa on that standpoint. But for me, I think this is a really tough game. But I think the lads will have gained confidence from the performances that have just gone by. As I say, Sunderland, City, and Fulham at the weekend. Winning of the weekend was key, really key, not just to stay in the FA Cup. And, it looks like we've got a fairly favourable tie if you look at it on paper, either Wrexham or Blackburn away. Personally, I want Blackburn, so it can't be done with the Hollywood wankathon over their owners, and I'd rather have a Shearer derby, personally, in my opinion. It's better. I like Blackburn Rovers, proper proper team, proper Northern team as well. And it'd be nice to see that game going ahead, you know, and it's a good favourable tie for us. So it's a confidence building result as well. So the lads can continue through, you know, keep pushing on. Hopefully that form starts to translate into the Premier League. But for me, I think this game is a tough one. And I think Newcastle will be lucky if we can get a draw in this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Could easily lose that game if we give, you know, any gaps to Villa and their pacey players to get in behind us. Like I say, if Burn is at left back, as good as he's played against Fulham, my worry is he'll get done with pace from Diaby or Watkins pulling on him, or Bailey pulling on him. I'd be very worried about Burn in this game. I really would be, and I really hope Eddie sees that and he plays Tino instead. But yeah, for me, I'm going for a 1-1 draw, and hopefully the lads can get that result. And then we can start looking at the other games back at St James's Park and try and get some more wins back on the board and climb up the table. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think it's going to be a draw? Are you worried? Do you think we might get beat from Villa? Do you think they've just got a little bit too much for us with our current guys? And let us know if you think we are going to sign any players before the window shuts or not, because time is ticking on. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment in. As I said at the start, if you haven't already, subscribe, like the video, help the channel grow. If you want to be a member, there is an option there for you. Click whichever one suits you best. Have a cracking day, and away the lads for Tuesday. Let's hope we get a good result. See you later. Cheers.